What's good, family? Today is a good day. As a matter of fact, I have a journal there over on my desk that says, Today is a good day to have a good day. I was like, cosign, hashtag cosign. It was a Christmas gift for this season. It was in a package from a beautiful sister friend who said to me, Hey, sis, FYI, money is tight, and everything that's in this package is regifted. But I'm sending it to you because I just want to put something in your hands to let you know how special you are to me. And I thought, you know what, that's what I'm talking about. Somebody who is like, look, I'm regifting this. I'm not going to toss it. It's a lot of really good stuff. It was like journals and mugs and some, like I said, some things that I really appreciated, and like, and they had never been used, and like she was like, yo, I want to give this to you. So anyway, I bless the Lord for people like that. I also am grateful for the online connections that I've been making. One of the things that the source book that I've been reading called We Wanted a Revolution. It's a source book of Black women artists from 1965 to 1985, art in all disciplines. What's interesting is that in this space, they have they have so many different um, nuggets of wisdom that they are passed down, that they're passing down, that they have passed down by creating the source book. And one of the nuggets of wisdom that they posited was, if you want to build a movement, you've got to get with like-minded people who are looking to do similar things. And so as a person of faith, as a person for whom God is particularized in the person of Jesus Christ, a person who embraces mystery, and a person who is very comfortable with the phrase, I don't know. I mean, like, that's just truth. So I'm not trying to, move around the earth as this expert on, all of these different things. I'm like, okay, fuck it. It's some things I know, some things I don't know. And those things that I know, I lean into. What I don't know, I tell the truth about. So I've been blessed to have met like-minded people who are also reverently irreverent. But there was this one group in particular that I thought was really interesting. They were funny. They were way more on the irreverent side. And whenever it came to sort of reverent topics, they would, poke at it, mock it. And I would read their comments, and I would think, you know what? Y'all motherfuckers need to go see some therapists. Y'all need to take good notes. I mean, it's one thing to be able to label the church context that you grew up in as, quote, toxic. It's a whole different thing to have marinated in that toxicity and not have gone to get your own healing in order for you to really not just be irreverent, but to also lean into the reverence and to I don't know, just to be about something good. Anyway, so I'm part of this group. They're reverently irreverent. A lot of their content is, more on the irreverent side. And they, too often for my liking would mock reverence. But I still kind of hung in there because every now and again, there would be an interesting topic and it would be fun to participate in these dialogues. But one particular topic they were on, it was a situation that had happened in the Black community at a Black school. And it just felt like a family discussion. Now, mind you, this, quote, family discussion became headline news. And everybody, stuck, dug in their heels, and they were like, look, this is how we do it. I've stated my case, and, so on and so forth or whatever. So in this group, like, we're having this reverently irreverent conversation about this particular thing. So I began to chime in because, number one, I knew people who were directly impacted by that situation, and I had watched the interview. I'd watched the video, and I had read, all of the not the press clips, but the actual interview with the people. So it's like I was getting it in, like their language and in their own words. So one of the people who chimed into this group was a young brother, and he was coming hard for me. Now, what's interesting is that in any given situation, I can be Alexus Grace, I can be Alexis from Texas. But whoever I am, I feel like you have dialed her up. So you brought her in. You invited her into this conversation, Alexus Grace or Alexus from Texas. Like it's always your pick. But with him, I sensed the need to be as gentle as I could because I had read some of his previous posts, and all I could think was, this brother is deeply wounded, and everything that's visceral that comes from his mouth is coming from that wounded place. And so I tried as best I could to be Alexus Grace to him, until it occurred to me that I was having a conversation with somebody who had not bothered to watch the fucking video or to read the interview. He was simply going off of headline news and what he had heard about it and wanted to jump in with his 2 cents. And he's talking with somebody who has done the legwork. And even when I asked him, I think the last question that I asked him was like, fam, did you read that interview? Did you watch that video? And when he said no and then continued to still try to have his way, I'm like, oh, shit. It's one thing for you to feel like you need to have your say. It's a whole other thing when you want to debate so fearlessly about a particular thing. So to those of you who are a part of these groups, and if you sense that something is like really off, you're like, okay, I love that you're reverently irreverent, or I love that your body over here, whatever, if there is something that does not fully connect with you in that space, thank them for the time that they have been whatever it is that you needed in that moment that you first joined. Gracefully bow out. Say like me, look, I am too grown for this bullshit. Like, I'm just too grown for this. Like, I'm not going to, sit here and be with y'all to get your numbers up in your groups and all that kind of stuff. So declare, for yourself that you're just too grown for some bullshit. Some things you're just too grown for, and you can gracefully bow out. But for those of you who are genuinely about trying to foster good conversation, you want to be thought leaders, influencers, I pray that you are not using your education to flatter. You're not using your insight to, brand build. I pray that you are using your education and your insight and your wisdom to help make a difference so that we can all come up and be better because of the gifts of your insight. And I also pray that we need to be real careful about how we are building in these spaces, in these online spaces. Because while I happen to be someone who was like, okay, look, I have a penchant for reverent irreverence. That's kind of my brand. I also recognize the power and the mystery in being irreverent and being reverent. I recognize the power of language. I recognize the power of an aptly placed word, story, experience. It lands. It makes a big difference. And so at the start of this new year, commit to just doing your utmost for the greater good for all of us. God has not changed God's mind about any of us. We are all extremely loved well. I love Augustine when he's talking about in his book Confessions, and all of the ways that he, used language and words and contests and that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, he landed with, there are 2 things I know for sure. No, he said there are 2 things that I believe. The first is that God exists. The second is that God cares for us. So for those of you with these platforms, may you also navigate the world recognizing that people are plugging in because they want to have some assurance of God's presence and God's love and care for them. So do the work, fam. All right.